Welcome back to Discovering an Educated Life. This is Megan, and today I want to talk a little bit about art and update you on how our art is going for our Adventures in U.S. History year. I have one third grader, and she's an only child, and so I just wanted to kind of update you on how the art is going. We did use the deluxe package for Adventures in U.S. History this year, and that comes with I Can Do All Things. That's been our main art curriculum. And I want to say first that we use art for every subject. So this is art for the sake of art. We do art in our history notebook. I will link those videos below to keep, the update videos I've done. Our history notebook, we do art, like not just coloring, but drawing. And we do the Draw Right Now series, which is kind of like language arts tied in with it. And we also use our nature journals. So we do a lot of art that's not just for the sake of art, but then we also integrate art into other things. And my daughter likes to do art. That's like, she did like a little, behind me, there's a little kitty. She did paint by number. She's always doing little crafts and things like that. And also my father's world integrates tons of crafts into their Bible time, tons of crafts just into their regular day-to-day stuff, their regular subjects, and they schedule in a lot of hands-on. So this is art for the sake of art, and I want to show you some of what we've covered this year for the first 6 weeks of school. So this started with like a primer, and so if you've never used this program, I actually really like how it introduces things. There's a primer that's A to Z, and then it has drawing lessons, colored pencil lessons, marker lessons, and painting lessons. There are painting cards, there's a DVD, there's a lot of different things it comes with, but there's also it just tells you step by step, it gives you everything you need. So I just want to kind of dig into that. So we just started with basic lines, like drawing horizontal and vertical lines. And then we moved into some arrows and pencils. This is very foundational. It's just before we move on to this other stuff, I want to know that you can draw Wally the worm, because you're going to use him in a lot of different lessons for shapes and things. We did the horizon, and we were just practicing more lines. We did a fence. We practiced drawing log cabins, trees, and different things. She did this drawing and drew her little cabin up there. And then we started digging into like the formation of people. And she just drew stick people, but then we moved into, she struggled with these, so she did it on a bigger paper, but they were like, kind of like hot dog people. You're adding to them. And then we did rectangle people, and it's just kind of like establishing that foundation of shape for a person. We did some geometric shapes and contrast. She drew this little clown guy right here. She did overlapping. See, you had to know how to draw Wally to get to the overlapping. There were some designs, texture. She practiced texturizing with different colors. This was just adding fur and whiskers to do this guy right here. More just shading lessons. We did ellipses. And we drew the different objects using an ellipse. We had practiced circles somewhere in the midst of that. We practiced ovals with faces, and she did water and ripples. I'm just trying to go through quickly. Oh, this was a good one, the silhouette, and she did this a couple times just on her own to practice. So she did like a city and then Bethlehem, and it was just understanding a silhouette. And she struggles sometimes with using the colored pencils like that, but she's really improved. And we drew things inside of a frame. And then we did like cubes and brown paper bags, and she did just different sizes of things. She did an American flag, so that's nice. It kind of correlated with some of the lessons. She learned how to do the wavy lines. We did tons of review. And then they had her, before we begin our main lessons, this is where we are. She had to add, she did this one herself. It's everything we've learned. So she made cubes, she drew a farm, she drew people, she drew a horse, and she kind of integrated all that together. I will tell you, we have one lesson left, And then we get to do our beginning drawing lessons. I love the format. I'm really liking this. It's giving her a foundation that she needs. It's very developmentally appropriate for my daughter. Maybe not for everyone, but for my daughter it is. And we do tons of crafts and stuff, but I really like that this is art for the sake of art. And she's really developing using this program. I will say, I recommend definitely getting Prismacolors. I purchased a big thing of the Pipsqueaks Crayola markers. I recommend getting something like that for when you do the marker lessons. I've read through some of what they require in here. So those are two things they don't require. You could just buy Crayola for 99 cents colored pencils, but they recommend Prismacolors, and we really enjoy Prismacolors. I mean, there's a few other things. I'll link those below, my favorite art supplies. I've talked about them before, but that's definitely something that improves your children's art, is when you buy supplies that they enjoy. So one more thing I want to mention that I have been using is this Brushwork by Marion Hudson. And so, like I mentioned, art for the sake of art. This is kind of like watercolor brushwork for the sake of nature drawing. We're learning how to use a brush properly to learn how to nature journal using this style. There are these grids. You can just print off a grid, whatever, or just get some grid paper. I've just used cardstock, and I'm just keeping them in this little notebook of my daughter's work. And so this is hers. This is one of her lessons. And the point in this is, it's kind of like when you learn to write. When you learn how to write with a pencil, you learn how to hold it, you learn how to form your letters properly. That's what you're doing with a brush. Like, sometimes people don't think about teaching like how to use a brush. And I think it's important because, like, well, this is both of ours, but it's been helpful to even me to understand, like, just turn it this way and you can make it look a little different, or you can make that look like a leaf. Or so it's really fun for nature journaling to learn those techniques. We're definitely not the greatest yet, but we're getting there. And this one was fun. Like, you had to measure it out. This is my daughter's. She's doing pretty well. I think she's doing pretty well with the patterns. And then she just kind of played around with her paint. And these are just like a liquid watercolor. And she's just doing her stuff. And this is what one of these sheets looks like, plain. It's just a plain sheet that has a grid that I printed off on cardstock. So we're kind of doing these like every other week, or whenever we feel like we'll just pick one up and do it when we have like extra time on a day. So this is really fun. So that's pretty much what we're doing for art, just doing some paint by numbers. We're doing our I Can Do All Things. We're doing our brushwork and crafts and nature journaling. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Anything else she feels like doing, like little Dollar Tree projects and stuff, that's kind of like our art this year. So if you can let me know below what you guys have been doing for art, and if there's anything you want me to cover more in depth that we're covering for our homeschool, just comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.